All right, so today we're diving into Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh,
And
yeah?
specifically this idea that wealthy families, they pass down this financial wisdom to their kids
Yeah.
that the poor and middle class just don't get. And it's interesting.
It is fascinating.
It's like this hidden curriculum almost.
Mm-hmm.
And Kiyosaki explores this by talking about the lessons he learned from two dads, right?
Exactly.
His own father, his poor dad,
Yeah.
and then his friend's father, the rich dad.
Right. And they kind of embody these two totally opposite mindsets about money. You know,
Yeah,
like poor dad would often say, the love of money is the root of all evil.
right.
But rich dad would say, no, the lack of money is the root of all evil. Yeah.
And you can see how those two totally different views would shape
Yeah, shape.
Kiyosaki's whole journey.
Absolutely.
And that difference really kind of gets to the heart of Kiyosaki's argument,
Uh-huh.
that financial education is key.
Yeah.
And he thinks, traditional schooling, it kind of misses the mark on that.
Oh, for sure.
It leaves people, even if they're really successful in other areas,
Right.
they don't really know how to manage money well.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes you think, right? Because schools, they focus so much on,
On getting a job.
getting a job, the skills you need for a job,
Yep.
not necessarily the skills to build wealth.
And he uses those cash flow diagrams
Oh, yeah.
to really simply show
Yeah.
how different income groups handle their money.
Mhm.
The wealthy, they build assets.
Right. Things that generate more income, while
Exact-
others get stuck in that rat race.
Yes, always working, never really getting ahead.
And that's such a powerful concept, that rat race.
It is.
But Kiyosaki doesn't just talk about this abstractly.
Right.
He uses stories from his own life
Yeah.
to show how he learned these lessons.
Mhm.
Remember that story about his first business when
Oh,
he
he
was
did.
9 years old?
Him and his friend Mike making toothpaste.
Yeah.
They had that little production line in the driveway.
I know. Of course, it got shut down.
Yeah.
But what I thought was interesting was both dads,
Yeah.
even though they had these very different views
Right.
on money,
Totally.
they both saw how valuable it was
Mhm.
that these boys were taking initiative. They weren't just goofing off, they were trying to create something.
And that kind of leads into Rich Dad's whole philosophy
Mm-hmm.
of
Mhm.
you're only poor if you give up.
Absolutely.
So he designed this whole course for Kiyosaki and Mike
Mm-hmm.
that kind of mirrored real life challenges.
Yeah,
He had them work at his convenience store.
I know. For no money?
Yeah, for low wages.
Yeah.
Teaching them about, the reality of labor
Mm-hmm.
and the importance of trying to find financial independence.
What do you think stood out to you from that?
Well, I think it's the fact that he was making them think differently
Yeah.
instead of just earning money and spending it.
Right.
Rich Dad wanted them to understand how money can work for them. Exactly. And that's where the difference between assets and liabilities is so crucial.
Yeah, assets put money in your pocket.
Like businesses, investments,
Right.
liabilities take money out.
And that's a concept that can seem really simple,
Sure.
but when you actually read Rich Dad, Poor Dad,
Yeah.
you realize how easy it is to get tricked
Oh, yeah.
and to actually acquire liabilities thinking they're assets.
Think about that example of those richest businessmen from 1923.
Oh, yeah.
They had all this wealth,
Right.
but so many of them died penniless just 25 years later.
Oh,
Yeah. And it shows that money alone isn't the answer. It's
Uh-huh.
financial literacy.
understanding how it works.
Yeah, how to manage it, invest it, and grow it.
That's what really matters.
That's it.
So it's not just about working hard. It's
Mm.
about working smart,
Mhm.
leveraging your resources.
And Rich Dad Poor Dad says one of the most powerful tools for building wealth
Yeah.
is actually something a lot of people are scared of:
What's that?
corporations.
Oh, yeah.
Kiyosaki really pushes back against this idea that corporations are evil.
Mm-hmm.
He says the wealthy, they understand how to use them legally and ethically
All right.
to protect their assets and minimize taxes.
It's not about cheating the system.
No.
It's about understanding the rules of the game.
Exactly.
And he suggests that anyone, regardless of their background,
Right.
can learn these strategies.
Yeah, he even says the rich outsmarted the intellectuals
I remember that.
because they understood the power of corporations.
So it kind of levels the playing field in a way.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
It's about empowering yourself with knowledge
Mhm.
and using the same tools that wealthy people have been using for generations.
And Rich Dad, Poor Dad goes beyond just that kind of technical advice. It
Mhm.
gets into the psychological stuff too,
Yeah,
the things that hold people back.
like fear.
Yeah, fear and doubt.
Oh yeah, we all struggle with that.
especially when it comes to money.
Yeah, he doesn't sugarcoat it either.
No.
He uses that analogy of the Alamo. Remember how Texans took a defeat
Right.
and turned it into this rallying cry to
Yeah.
become winners?
She's turning setbacks into motivation.
Exactly.
And then there's the story of Colonel Sanders.
Oh, I love that one.
Over 1,000 rejections.
Yeah, before he finally got his fried chicken recipe to take off.
And he was 66 years old.
And incredible, right?
It shows you giving up is not an option.
And Kiyosaki said a lot of times it's our own I don't wants
Oh,
that
yeah.
hold us back.
Like, I don't want to fix toilets.
If you're going to invest in real estate, you got to be willing to do that sometimes.
Yeah. You got to get your hands dirty.
Exactly.
So financial intelligence, it's
Mhm.
not just about numbers.
Right.
It's about developing the right mindset.
Overcoming those internal obstacles.
Exactly. And Rich Dad, Poor Dad really highlights that
It does.
the importance of self-awareness and mental fortitude.
Hmm.
But what happens when somebody just refuses to face their financial reality?
Well, Kiyosaki tells this story about a woman who got really upset playing his cash flow board game
I remember that.
because it forced her to look at her own spending habits
Right.
and her financial situation.
She didn't like what she saw.
No, she didn't. And it's so relatable.
It is.
It's easier to blame outside circumstances
Yeah.
than to take responsibility for our own choices.
It's a challenge to us, right?
It is.
To be honest with ourselves about how we handle money.
And to be open to changing how we think about it.
Yeah, because if we want different results,
Yeah,
we got to be willing to change our thinking.
exactly. It's a call to action.
So instead of feeling overwhelmed or defeated by our circumstances, Kiyosaki wants us to be active in our financial journey.
Yes. Find mentors, go to seminars.
Learn from people who have already achieved success.
He's a big believer in giving and receiving.
Yeah, both money and knowledge.
He emphasizes that financial success isn't a zero-sum game.
Right.
There's enough abundance to go around.
And by sharing what you know and sharing your resources,
Yeah,
you actually help yourself too.
absolutely.
It's all interconnected.
It is. And our individual success can contribute to a greater prosperity for everyone.
So we've covered a lot of ground here,
Cool.
from contrasting philosophies to the importance of financial literacy.
Yeah.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad really challenges how we think about money. It does, and encourages us to be proactive about building wealth.
And there's still so much more to explore.
Absolutely. We'll dive into more detail as we continue this deep dive.
Yeah, looking at how Rich Dad Poor Dad offers a roadmap
Yeah.
for people who want financial independence.
Even if it means going against traditional advice.
What I find so fascinating is
Yeah.
that Kiyosaki's message,
Mm-hmm.
it really speaks to everybody.
It does.
It's not just about being rich.
Right.
It's about taking control of your life
Yeah,
and creating a future where money works for you.
not the other way around.
Exactly.
We'll be back shortly to continue this deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Looking forward to it.
Get ready to challenge your assumptions and uncover some unconventional wisdom that could totally change your relationship with money.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's kind of interesting how Rich Dad Poor Dad really goes against that idea that, a job equals security.
Oh yeah, it's like ingrained in so many of us.
Right.
But Rich Dad, he was totally against that.
He really thought that relying only on a job
Yeah,
for your income can actually make you more vulnerable.
especially nowadays.
Right? Like the world's changing so fast.
Mhm.
He was all about building an asset column
Yeah,
that generates passive income.
so your money's working for you.
Exactly. You're not just depending on that one paycheck.
And he said anybody can do this.
It doesn't matter your background
Yeah,
or your education.
it's about building that financial intelligence.
Right. Not just relying on a job or a paycheck.
And that reminds me of when Kiyosaki decided to leave his job
Oh, yeah.
at Standard Oil. It seemed like a secure job, right?
You would think so.
His educated dad was like, "What are you doing?"
Exactly. Security was everything to him.
But Rich Dad congratulated him.
He did. He saw it as a step towards freedom.
It really shows you those two contrasting philosophies.
Totally.
Rich Dad saw it as a step toward
Yeah.
minding your own business.
Exactly.
And then Kiyosaki joined the Marine Corps.
Right. To learn leadership skills.
Yeah, which Rich Dad thought were super important.
Essential for success in business.
He saw those experiences as investments
Yeah, investments in himself
in his personal growth.
and his financial growth.
It's a good example of how education goes beyond just the classroom.
Yeah, you can learn from real world experiences,
Mentors,
taking risks.
stepping outside your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
And Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's not all about business and investing.
Right.
It talks about the importance of
Yeah.
developing sales and marketing skills.
Oh, yeah. Kiyosaki really stresses that.
He says the ability to sell is crucial.
It is for personal success.
For anything, really.
Think about it. We're always selling in a way.
Right.
We're selling our ideas, our skills, our value to other people.
It's all about communication.
And negotiation.
Yeah, those skills are so important.
No matter what you do.
And Kiyosaki, he walked the talk.
He did.
He went to sales training courses. He
Yeah.
practiced his communication skills.
He saw those as tools for creating wealth.
And that's what I love about Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Mm.
It's not just theory.
It's practical.
It's full of stories and examples.
Things that we can all relate to.
And he talks a lot about finding mentors.
Oh, yeah. Learning from people who have already done
What you want to do.
right.
He says a lot of his success came from his rich dad.
His mentor.
Yeah.
He tells readers to go find their own mentor.
People who can guide you.
He even says, just invite somebody you admire to lunch
Yeah.
and ask for their advice.
It's about being proactive,
Taking initiative
seeking out knowledge.
and not being afraid to ask for help.
And he's all about continuous learning.
Oh, yeah. Always be learning.
He says go to seminars, read books.
Listen to audio
He
programs.
just loves to learn.
He really does.
And it doesn't have to be boring.
No, he talks about how much he enjoys going to classes.
He's learning new things.
He even says he listens to audio programs multiple times
Wow.
to really absorb the information
Yeah.
and get new perspectives.
Remember that story he told
No.
about the seminar he went to?
On buying real estate with no money down
Yeah. He spent $385 on that course.
and made millions from what he learned.
It's amazing.
It shows you the power of investing in your education.
So it's not enough to just learn.
Yeah.
You got to take action.
Absolutely.
Kiyosaki, he tells people to be bold,
Yeah.
make lots of offers.
Look for bargains in all markets.
He says there are tons of opportunities out there.
But you got to be willing to look for them.
And take action.
And he talks about finding those hidden opportunities
Yeah, the ones most people miss.
because they don't know how to see them.
It's about developing that financial intelligence.
Right. Knowing a good deal when you see it.
And he uses that analogy of the Indian giver
Oh, yeah.
to show how important it is
Mhm.
to get your money back quickly.
Right. And to find those something for free opportunities.
It's about structuring deals in a way that minimizes your risk.
But maximizes your potential return.
It's about being creative.
Finding those win-win situations.
And it all comes back to financial freedom.
Right.
Kiyosaki sees these skills as essential
Yeah, for escaping the rat race.
and building a life of abundance.
And he says if you're complaining about not having enough money to invest,
Mhm.
you're probably focused on the wrong thing.
You should be focusing on building your financial intelligence,
Exactly, and finding ways to make more money.
not just trying to save your way to wealth.
It's a shift in mindset.
From scarcity to abundance.
Yeah, from focusing on limitations to focusing on possibilities.
And that leads to one of the biggest things in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, conquering fear and doubt.
Oh, yeah. Kiyosaki says fear is a huge roadblock
It is. We all feel it.
to financial success.
That hesitation,
The what ifs.
it can hold us back.
And he has some great tips for overcoming fear.
Like,
First, you got to acknowledge your fears.
but don't let them control you.
Exactly.
He uses the analogy of a tennis match.
You're going to lose some games.
But you can still win the match.
Got to be willing to make mistakes
Learn from them.
and come back stronger,
And he says it's important to stay positive.
even when things don't go your way.
Remember how Texans see failure as a rallying cry,
Yeah, to become winners.
turning setbacks into motivation?
And then there's Colonel Sanders again.
Over 1,000 rejections.
That's a resilience right there.
It shows that perseverance pays off.
And Kiyosaki even gives you a strategy for dealing with those inner chicken littles.
Oh, yeah. Those voices of doubt.
He says, just do what Colonel Sanders did to his little chicken. He fried it.
He loves that.
It's a funny way of saying,
Yeah.
don't let fear control you.
Confront it.
Overcome it.
Keep moving forward.
So we've talked about overcoming fear, building financial intelligence.
Taking action.
But Kiyosaki also says you got to have a good work ethic.
He's not saying be lazy,
No hard work is essential.
but work smart.
Exactly. Make sure you're working for yourself.
Not just for somebody else's gain.
And he even tells you how to build that work ethic.
Oh, yeah.
Says pay yourself first.
Even if you don't have enough to cover all your bills.
Yeah, it sounds counterintuitive,
It does.
but he says it creates this shift in your thinking.
Like a sense of urgency.
Yeah, you're prioritizing your own financial well-being.
And then you're more motivated to find other income sources.
You're taking control of your
And
money.
he did this himself.
He did.
And the pressure of having to pay those bills.
After he paid himself first.
Yeah.
It forced him to be more creative.
Yeah. To find ways to make more money.
He turned that pressure into motivation,
It's the opposite of how most people do it.
paying everyone else first,
Yeah, and then hoping there's something left over for you.
which usually leads to living paycheck to paycheck.
And never getting ahead,
It's a reminder that our habits
even the small ones,
can make a huge difference.
in our long-term financial success.
So be mindful of where your money's going.
Make choices that align with your goals.
And speaking of choices,
Yeah.
Kiyosaki says, pay your advisors well,
Find the best professionals you can afford.
whether it's lawyers, accountants, real estate brokers.
Financial advisors.
Don't try to save money by doing it yourself.
Or by going with the cheapest option.
Good advisors can actually make you more money.
By helping you avoid mistakes.
It's an investment in your success.
Not an expense.
And make sure they're aligned with your interests.
That they actually care about your success.
Kiyosaki even says, ask them about their own investments.
To see if they practice what they preach.
Find advisors who are not just knowledgeable.
But also trustworthy and ethical.
And it all ties back to being an Indian giver.
Right.
Always be looking for those something for free opportunities.
Deals that give you extra perks.
On top of your initial investment.
Structure deals to protect your downside.
But maximize your potential upside.
He is a smart investor.
Don't just throw money at anything.
And Rich Dad, Poor Dad also talks about teaching.
Yeah.
Sharing your knowledge with others.
Kiyosaki believes that the more you teach, the more you learn,
He's all about giving back.
empowering others to achieve financial success.
He teaches through his books, his seminars.
Even his board game cash flow.
It's about helping people take control of their finances.
And build a better life for themselves.
And he connects this to generosity,
The more you give, the more you receive.
creating a cycle of abundance.
Both financially and personally.
So it's not just about getting rich yourself.
It's about using your wealth to make a positive impact.
And that brings us back to Kiyosaki's main message.
Financial freedom is about more than just money.
It's about having the time and the resources
To do what you love.
to make a difference.
To live a life with purpose.
And it's a journey anyone can take.
No matter where you are financially.
It starts with learning
Challenging your beliefs.
and taking action.
And with the right mindset.
The right knowledge.
And the right support.
You can achieve anything.
Kiyosaki even says find heroes.
People who inspire you.
People who make success seem attainable.
He talks about how he studied Warren Buffett,
And Donald Trump.
learning from their successes.
Find role models who embody the financial principles you want to follow.
Learn from their example.
And remember, you don't have to do this alone.
Kiyosaki says build a community.
Surround yourself with people who share your values.
He created the Cash Flow board game.
To make learning about money fun.
And he encourages people to join cash flow clubs.
To connect with others.
Practice your skills.
And support each other on your journey.
It's amazing how many people have connected with Kiyosaki's message.
Rich Dad Poor Dad is a global phenomenon.
It's been translated into so many languages.
And sold millions of copies.
It shows you the power of his ideas.
And how relevant his message still is.
Financial freedom is possible.
For anyone who's willing to learn and take action.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad, what are some key things you hope people will take away from it?
Well, first, I hope they remember that financial education is key.
Yeah.
It's not about memorizing formulas or becoming an expert overnight.
It's about understanding the basics of how money works.
And how to make it work for you.
And I hope they really get Kiyosaki's message about mindset.
It's not just about the numbers.
It's about your beliefs, your attitude.
Your willingness to challenge the way you think about money.
Embrace that growth mindset.
Believe in yourself.
Don't let fear hold you back.
And remember, financial freedom is a journey.
Not a destination.
It's about taking small steps.
Learning from your mistakes.
Celebrating your wins.
It's about creating a life of abundance. And that's something worth striving for.
You know, it's really fascinating how Rich Dad, Poor Dad kind of brings together all these different ideas.
Yeah.
Business investing, personal development, even like spirituality. It's all part of this bigger philosophy of financial freedom.
He really does connect the dots.
And he's not afraid to challenge conventional wisdom.
Yeah.
He really wants you to think for yourself.
To question everything.
To find your own way.
Especially when it comes to money.
Yeah, he's pretty critical of the traditional education system.
Oh, yeah. He thinks it doesn't really prepare people for the real world.
Especially when it comes to money.
He thinks we need a different approach.
Learning from real-life experiences. Finding mentors.
Educating yourself.
And developing those essential skills for this day and age.
Exactly.
But it's not just about becoming an entrepreneur or an investor.
Right.
He thinks it's about taking control of your finances no matter what you do.
Yeah, building assets, managing your cash flow.
Creating a life where money works for you.
Not the other way around.
And it's about having the right mindset.
Abundance, generosity, and a love of learning.
He even talks about finding heroes.
People who inspire you.
People who make success seem possible.
He talks about how he studied Warren Buffett and Donald Trump.
Yeah, learning from their successes.
And those role models.
Who live by the financial principles you admire.
And remember, you don't have to do this alone.
Right. Rich Dad, Poor Dad emphasizes community.
Surrounding yourself with the right people.
People who share your goals.
That's why he created the cash flow board game.
It's a fun way to learn about money.
And he encourages people to join cash flow clubs.
To connect with others.
To practice your skills.
Support each other.
It's amazing how Kiyosaki's message has resonated with so many people.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a global phenomenon.
Millions of copies sold.
Translated into tons of languages.
It shows you how powerful his ideas are.
And how relevant they still are today.
Financial freedom is possible.
For anyone who's willing to put in the work.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad,
what are some key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, first, I hope they remember that financial education is crucial.
Yeah, it's the foundation for everything else.
It's not about becoming a financial guru overnight.
It's about understanding the basics.
And making smart choices with your money.
And don't forget about mindset.
It's so important.
Your beliefs, your attitude.
They have a huge impact on your financial success.
So cultivate a growth mindset.
Believe in yourself.
Don't let fear hold you back.
And remember, financial freedom is a journey.
Not a destination.
Take it one step at a time.
Learn from your mistakes.
Celebrate your victory.
Create a life of abundance and purpose.
That's what it's all about.
And if you're inspired by what we've talked about today,
I encourage you to check out Rich Dad, Poor Dad for yourself.
pick up a copy.
Join a cash flow club.
Or just start talking about money with your friends and family.
The more you learn,
the more you share.
And the more action you take.
The closer you'll be to achieving your financial goals.
You creating the life you want.
Remember Kiyosaki's words, money is only an idea. If you want more money, simply change your thinking.
So think big, take action, and start building your path to financial freedom today.